Hello and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. This evening, consumer advocacy group CATS International is calling on the Bank of Ghana to address the growing concern of excessive ATM fees that unfairly penalize consumers across the country. Speaking to Joy Business, the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International, Apiakusi Adumaku, said it is unfair for banks to charge people extra for using another bank's ATM when their own bank's machine is broken or out of cash. Thankfully, he joins us via Zoom for a conversation on the back of these concerns is raised. And as and when we do have him, we shall bring him on stream to speak to us on the subject matter. But we want to shift focus to some other stories. The year-on-year producer price inflation in ex-factory prices for all goods and services reduced drastically to 10.2% in May 2025 from 18.5% in April 2025. More in this report. The two most important contributors to the decline of producer price inflation in May 2025 were mining and quarrying and manufacturing, both accounting for 78.7% of producer price index. The two sectors are key to Ghana's industrial growth. Therefore, the Ghana Statistical Service stated that this presents a window of stabilization, investment, and responsible spending. The Ghana Statistical Service alluded that the overall outlook appears optimistic as producer inflation is downward and most sectors are experiencing price stability or declines. It promised to continue to track price trends closely and provide timely updates to support informed decision-making by the public, business, and government. For consumers and households, the Ghana Statistical Service urged them to save more as prices are rising slowly or even falling. They were also advised to avoid panic buying, shop wisely, and avoid unnecessary stockpiling. Well, manufacturing firms may now have little excuse not to reduce prices of products and goods on the market. And this was after new data from the Ghana Statistical Service showed that their input cost has dropped significantly for the month of May, and this is the lowest since November 2023. More in this report for you. This came to light after the Ghana Statistical Service released the producer price inflation for the month of May 2025. It actually measures the rate at which the price received by domestic producers for their goods and services rises or falls over a period. The data from the Ghana Statistical Service showed that the producer price inflation rate dropped by some significant margin to 10% for the month of May. For a month-on-month comparison, prices actually dropped for most of these manufacturing firms. For some, this fresh data raises a lot of questions. Why some industries and manufacturing firms are yet to reduce their prices or pass on these benefits to consumers, coming on the back of the cedi's sharp appreciation against the dollar, especially for those firms that source majority of their imports from outside. Away from the producer price inflation, the African Development Bank is calling on Ghana to strengthen its economic resilience in the face of growing global uncertainties. The call comes in the wake of the escalating Israel-Iran conflict, which has triggered fresh fears over global economic stability. Speaking to Joy Business, the vice president of the bank in charge of infrastructure and industrialization, Solomon Kwenu, emphasized the urgent need for Ghana and other African nations to deepen intra-African trade to cushion themselves from external shocks. James Ishen reports.
So now we just have to, take the benefits we've seen on the macro and also make micro reforms that would then further stimulate growth.
Yeah. We are seeing some disturbances from the Middle East. I know you're not an economist, but from what you've seen so far, how do you sort of wrap our head around all of this?
I mean, look, one of the things we've come to all realize, especially since COVID, is that the world would always have multiple shocks, right? And so you have to build your economy for resilience. Yeah, because yesterday's shock was COVID. Today's shock is a combination of the wars between Ukraine and Russia, and then also some of the issues in the Middle East, etc. There will always be shocks. So the best thing is to really, prepare your economies for resilience. And this is why we are saying, Africa, trade amongst yourselves. Yeah, I mean, together, we're a $3 trillion GDP economy, right? Let's focus on that. Let's not, right today, we only trade amongst ourselves up to 15%. In Europe and other places, it's 70+%. And we shouldn't all be looking at import substitution of all products. let's focus on the value chains where we're competitive, okay? And then we trade amongst ourselves. That way, we actually have our economies turning on a regional basis and not just purely on a country basis.
Are we to expect some fresh funding from the bank anytime soon?
There would always be funding from the bank, especially private sector, which is the reason I'm here. We're here looking for bankable projects that we can support and also PPP projects. But we're also trying to create the enabling environment for Ghana's capital to fund Ghana's projects. You don't have to wait for AfDB. You don't have to wait for the West. Ghana has significant capital. We estimate the assets under management in just pension funds alone. We haven't even added, life insurance, investment pools, etc. I mean, that's $5.2 billion equivalent. Just imagine if we took 10% of that and invested into infrastructure in the productive sector. Absolutely. And that's why I have confidence.
And is there a specific amount we're looking at?
Give me the bankable projects and then I'll tell you the amount.
All right, so let's go back to our earlier story where I was telling you about CAS International calling on the Bank of Ghana to address growing concerns of excessive ATM fees that unfairly penalize consumers across the country. Thankfully, we have the Regional Director for CAS International West Africa, Apia Kusiadumaku, joining us via Zoom for us to have this conversation. Thank you so much, sir, for making time to speak to us here on Prime Business. What really is your concern about ATM fees?
Okay, good evening and good evening to your viewers in Ghana and across the world. In Ghana, when you apply for an ATM card, you pay a monthly maintenance fee to the bank, whether you use your card or you don't use your card. Elsewhere, it is free. Now, when you want to go and withdraw money from your bank ATM machine, and then your bank's ATM machine is not working, you will naturally go and use a third-party ATM machine because they are largely Visa or MasterCard. However, when you use a third-party machine, the bank will charge you. You'll be charged an extra money for a problem which you didn't create it. And so I think that it is unfair for consumers of financial services to be charged money for using a third-party ATM machine. The reason is that ATM may go down for various reasons, whether lack of funds, mechanical, technical, software, or whatever. And so what most countries have done is that they do allow for up to 5 free third-party withdrawals, so that if to account for the downtime in the ATM that may happen. But in Ghana, you would not get any third-party withdrawal for free. You have to pay for everything. And we want the Bank of Ghana to step in to protect the welfare of consumers. And the sad thing is that you may also not know how much a third-party machine is going to charge you until after you have done your transaction. Then you get a debit alert. In most countries, when you are using a third-party machines, they let you know how much they're going to charge you. And let me also say that in majority of the countries that I've been through, the ATM machine for third-party is free of charge. And so I think that Ghana, we can gradually transition to a third-party withdrawal at no extra charge.
All right. I'm curious, for how long has this persisted per your research you've carried out on this very subject matter, and what has been the effect on transactions, you would say?
Okay, so we did a study across the nation, close to 2,000 respondents, and consumers expressed these worries about ATM not functioning and they having to drive or take Okada to the nearest ATM, and also you pay additional cost for commuting and then additional charges for using a third-party machine. And about 64% of the respondents complain about these challenges. And I think that BOG needs to take a stringent look at this issue. About a week ago, we heard that the governor of Bank of Ghana said something about ATM charges. And I think that the Bank of Ghana needs to be very tough on this because the banks are kind of fleecing consumers. Let me say something. You know, when you get an ATM, it means that you may not have to go to the banking hall to do any withdrawal or deposit. And so in one way or the other, you not going to the banking hall, you've helped the bank to decongest the banking hall. You've helped the bank to also save money from hiring more extra staff. However, the bank is charging you additional money for monthly fees. And I think it's wrong. And so far, for all the countries that we've been through, Ghana is the only country where consumers are made to pay a monthly maintenance fee for ATM cards. And the sad thing is this: most of these foreign banks, when they come to Ghana, they don't charge ATM fees in their country. When they come to Ghana, they come and join the bandwagon and commit the same thing.
All right. So for you at CATS International, what exactly do you want the Bank of Ghana to do in this regard? Because I've heard you say that you are calling on the central bank to intervene, take stringent position on this matter. What exactly for CATS International you're looking forward to the Bank of Ghana do about this matter?
So one, we want Bank of Ghana to mandate the banks to provide up to 5 free third-party withdrawal for every month. Number one, that is in the short term. In the medium term, the banks should be able to waive off ATM withdrawals in its entirety, and also consumers should not be made to pay any maintenance fees on ATM. And finally, the Bank of Ghana should also penalize banks whose ATM machines break down to ensure that the downtime will be reduced.
Thank you so much, Apiakusi Adumaku, for your time. He is the West Africa Regional Director for CATS International. I truly appreciate your time speaking to me here on Prime Business. And to some other stories, only 4.5% out of 258 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies covered in the 2024 Public Financial Management Compliance League table scored more than 50% benchmark. While non-metropolitan assembly crossed the 50% threshold, only 3 scored more than the national average of 32.8%. Here is more from the launch of the report organized by the Center for Local Governance Advocacy with support from the European Union.
Out of 258 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies covered, only 12 scored above the 50% benchmark. The national average improved to 32.8%, up from 22% recorded in 2023. In terms of regional performance, Ashanti, Eastern, Greater Accra and Volta regions recorded scores above the 50% benchmark and national average, while Ahafo, Savannah, Upper West and Western North regions scored below the national average. Gladys Tete is the Deputy Executive Director at the Center for Local Governance Advocacy. She detailed the challenges that led to these outcomes.
The assessment reveals some challenges, and these include underdevelopment planning, weak alignment between development plans, action plans, and progress reports, overstated achievements, and inadequate monitoring mechanisms. Under composite budgeting, limited stakeholder participation, delayed approvals, and poor synchronization between planning and budgeting. Procurement and contracting, weak documentation, and premature contract execution contrary to the procurement regulation.
Governance expert Dr. Eric Odro-Osai stated that the Public Financial Management Compliance League table will strengthen the financial capabilities of MMDAs and position them to raise funds on the capital market.
Financial management systems status of the local government have been published. So individuals who want to invest in the local government will know the capacity weaknesses. It would also help the government to prepare them well, because as they go to the capital market, they will require them to publish their financial statement, because no bank will give you money when you have weak control systems. So all what we are saying is that government should use this document to deal with the capacity issues of local government so that they will be able to have good systems and good control systems. So when they go to the capital market, they will get the money.
Meanwhile, Professor Vladimir Enchidanso called for a review of the benchmark rate from 50% to 60%.
So MMDAs, naturally, if you want empowerment and if you want to have award here, then you must go beyond 60%. So I entreat CLGA to take the threshold of 60% for all the MMDAs. So we know that they are working hard.
The Dade Kotopon Municipal Assembly was adjudged the best MMDA in the 2024 Public Financial Management Compliance League table, followed by Kwadaso and Pando Municipal Assemblies, ranking second and third respectively.
The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has encouraged the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Ghana, to take the lead in driving efficiency and setting high professional standards in the public sector. He made the call during the 2025 Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management Conference.
The minister at the conference stressed the need for stronger institutional frameworks, urging HR professionals to become key drivers of reform across ministries, departments, and agencies.
What's the relationship between labor, human resource, and productivity? Today, social media and your phones, apart from becoming toxic source of misinformation, many of you in your enterprises, whether private or public, are spending man hours on your phones and not contributing to the productivity of your employers. That's not acceptable. That's standards. How my time? I'm not talking of those of you who are using the phone for purpose of running your entities and your businesses. But too much time is spent rather on that than contributing to the productivity of the enterprises and the industries that you are so appointed to contribute to.
The president of the Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management, Florence Hatchful, echoed the sentiment, calling for deeper collaboration between stakeholders to ensure meaningful change.
You may recall that in one of our recent visits, you highlighted this issue. Actually, when we visited the minister recently, he actually expressed grave concern about some of these developments. I believe that this is unacceptable and must be addressed. Embedding ethics into HR practice is crucial for promoting justice and dignity in the workplace. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important for HR managers to cultivate a culture where every employee feels safe, valued, and heard.
This year's conference was under the theme Regulating HRM in Ghana, Standards, Ethics, and Sustainability.
You're still watching Prime Business. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture has revealed plans are advanced for takeoff of the government's poultry project with 4 million birds to be distributed to 50 large-scale poultry farmers. It is part of government plans to reduce poultry importation and create jobs within the country. Sector Minister Eric Opoku, addressing the media in Kumasi, said the government's campaign promise to help households venture poultry production will also be implemented. Anaya Ojima filed this report.
An average of 400,000 tons of poultry is consumed annually in the country. In 2022 alone, 324,000 tons of chicken was consumed, with 4.6% being produced locally. In ensuring the country takes advantage of the demand, each of the selected 50 large-scale poultry farmers will be given 80,000 birds to enhance their production. After the rollout, another batch of farmers who are identified as medium-scale farmers will be handed between 1,000 and 3,000 birds to rear for consumption. Minister for Food and Agriculture, Eric Opoku, has indicated farmers will also have access to machinery for processing. We have selected 50 people across the country. These are established large-scale farmers. Each of them will be provided 80,000 birds. In all, we will be distributing 4 million birds to them.
4 million birds. 4 million.
These are people with expertise in poultry farming. They will give these birds to their farmers to rear for us. In 4 months, these birds will be ready and our imports will reduce.
Now it's a bedi in 4 months. Now 4 million birds number system. Now was some cocoa Ghana.
To enhance government's Nkokwa Nkete project, households are being encouraged to make space in their homes for the project. Mr. Opoku reveals plans to introduce disease-resistant poultry species on the market. We want to use household poultry farming to increase interest in poultry farming. We will make our officers register persons interested in the domestic poultry farming so we can give the birds and some feed to them. The minister, touring the Ashanti region, visited the A2 Agro Allied, a poultry feed manufacturer. The factory, which aims at manufacturing feed for the government poultry program, is nearing completion. For Joy News, Nanaya Ochima, Kumasi.
Thank you so much for watching Prime Business. I am Pius Kojo Baka.